All right, gamers, here we are. We are out on some of our platforms. Let's just see if we're on the old YouTube. We were gonna start at 6:30 because it's a later slate tonight. 7:30 lock, 2 games, and we're going until 8 o'clock in honor of the sponsor Super Draft.
So
But
true.
tweets went out early. People started to get salty, so here we are. Hit that thumbs up. Give us a few likes for coming in early here. It was going to be a long show. I saw that tweet go out and I wasn't by my computer, so I couldn't log in and delete it. And I thought, there's no way we can go 2 hours. That's a lot to talk about. Eddie and I like to goof around a lot, but 2 hours is a long time.
I'll Periscope by myself for 3 or 4 hours. My capacity to talk is underrated.
All right. I've got plenty of Diet Pepsi here. I have a backup can. I've got a cup full of ice. Had dinner beforehand here. My wife made some very, very tasty pork carnitas for the first time. And then made guacamole. Literally peeled the avocados, mashed them, and made guacamole. It was probably a top 5 ever guacamole I've had. And that's the first time she ever made it. So hats off to her. And then we had that same little tequila margarita drink we had last week. So woohoo! That half gallon of tequila that lasts us a year is still gonna last us about a year. But hey, lots of fun here at Casa de McPherson. But here we are. So let's get some news and notes here. You'll retweet since we did go live, and people can come have some fun joining us here. So we've got the biggest news that we don't have yet is going to be LeBron James. If he's in, Anthony Davis is a good play. If he's out, Anthony Davis probably the best play on the slate. So we're going to wait and see on that one. That is a let's see, 8 o'clock start. One of our 2 games at 8 o'clock. For the earlier games, the 7:30 games, Tyler Hero is out. Damian Lillard is out. Those are no surprises. DeAndre Bembry is still out, but they think he'll be back Monday. And then you've got Myers Leonard still out. He'll probably come back Monday or Wednesday. If we look down further, Danny Green was doubtful. He is now out with his hip injury. You've got Edmund Sumner is questionable with his hip injury. Andre Drummond was dealing with the calf injury that cost him 2 games. Tristan Thompson now out, because why would we want everybody healthy in the Cleveland front court at once? And then you've got Kevin Love, who apparently is going to play on a back-to-back, much like Daniel LaRusso.
First time in a while.
It had been a full month since he had played on a back-to-back. Actually, it was the 30th of January.
It was pre-break. I knew about quite a bit. So yeah.
Yep. Victor Oladipo questionable with an ankle injury. I suspect he will play. Moving on down, LaMarcus Aldridge out for another game. You've got Eric Gordon, who is going to play tonight for Houston. You have Thabo Sefolosha, who is available. Whether he plays or not is a different matter. Let's see. Robert Williams and Grant Williams and are back, or whichever Williams was out is back for Boston.
Robert Williams was out and is back.
Okay.
And
Enes Kanter only played 8 minutes the last time these two teams faced each other. So just throwing that out there.
That wasn't that long though either. It was just before break or whatever.
Correct.
The Celtics and Rockets.
Phoenix had a few guys that late night hammer at 9 o'clock. So we have kind of a compressed slate tonight. The late night hammer popped up with a few things. Jordan Poole out. I thought he was going to play. He had tweaked his ankle on Thursday when they played last, and then came back later in the game in the fourth quarter and was able to play, but apparently swelling and whatever.
So that's I can't tell you how many times I've turned an ankle and felt better 20 minutes later than I would 3 days later. Just the swelling makes you unable to cut, really, and it's just that's happened to me every 3 years for the last 25 years, where you turn that ankle and you can go back in, you get some adrenaline, you're still a little loosey-goosey and flexible, so there's just some pain and you can't really feel it yet, but a couple days later you're like, yeah, no, that sucks. So and it's really just ankles. Right. It's not really that way with knees, shoulders, elbows, wrists, any other injury.
Well, it's like you stretch the ligaments a little bit, for lack of a better word, maybe minor tearing, and then it stiffens up and you're like, damn, this is not going to be fun.
Yeah, it just swells up, and you can play through, water on the knee, swelling on the knee, a little bit on the shoulder. It'll mess your shot up a little, but those things. But like when you can't cut, you can't, drive or really play defense at an NBA level. So you turn an ankle, you're believe it or not, probably almost more likely to re-enter than play the next game. If you went back and did like a deep data dive on it, it's bring my microphone up. Okay.
And then we have Draymond Green is questionable with the knee. Andrew Wiggins should be in. He missed the last game.
Draymond Green is questionable with a knee.
Pardon, Draymond? Yeah.
That did not pop for me.
Ah, yes.
I don't have that. I just want to. That seems fairly critical since there are no point guards on this team outside of 3 guys who can like half play point guard. So
yeah.
Yep, that's what I have now. It did not alert in my database. That's weird. Maybe
DeAndre
1:30 or 5:30. But yeah, he's questionable with a knee, which, dear God, what they're going to do at point guard if he's out. But okay.
And Steph, they had softly targeted Sunday because the Warriors play the Wizards tomorrow. They had softly targeted that date. He's going to be out for another 3 games at least. But his return is pending, and I don't know why, but there you go. Missing one guy. Oh, DeAndre Aten. And Cam Johnson. They're both questionable. Aten kind of got a midday from probable to questionable downgrade. I was talking with Eddie about this before the show, but this is the 6th game in 9 days for Phoenix. Adam and I had talked about it. I said, it's a back-to-back. It's a 3 and 4. It's a 4 and 6. I was looking back at their schedule again. I'm like, oh, good God, this is the 6th one since the break. That's only been 9 days. So since February 21st, this will be their 6th game.
Yeah. And as I alluded to before, there are 14 games on tonight's slate, issuing our earlier game, the Bulls game, that we aren't dealing with here. And of those 14 teams, 9 of them have back-to-backs. The Pacers, Trailblazers, both the Rockets and Celtics, and someone else do not have a back-to-back. The Spurs. Those 5 teams are not on a back-to-back. Everyone else is either front or back end, and we can get into that when we get to them.
Yeah, so it's going to be a wild one, but we've got time. We have 7 games here. Again, they said your rankings look a little messed up.
That's unfortunate. Put in 2 versions now. I'll go take a peek.
Hang on, let me take a gander. See if I can help triage this real quick here for you. It looks like it could be incorrect salaries. Oh, you've got some of the New York guys in there. I can see that off top.
I have some of the New York guys in there.
Yeah,
okay,
well, you've got Alonzo Trier, Elfrid Payton.
That does seem to be a problem. Checking my...
So you take a peek at that, but we'll mention to everybody. So we're going to go till 7:30 for the lock for the main sites, and then we're going to stay on for an extra half hour here for Super Draft. If you guys have not yet signed up for Super Draft, that is over there at superdraft.io. It's a lot of fun playing there. They do not have salary caps. They have multipliers. So, for example, today you could get Jaylen Brown with a 60% multiplier on his score, or you could play Anthony Davis at a 5% multiplier on his score. So it makes for a lot of fun. 3 guards, 3 forwards, and a center. Handful of players, very few, but a handful of players are multi-position eligible, including Gorgie Jang, who I would not want to play on any other site, but on Super Draft, he did that. He did make a potential tournament play here with a 175 multiplier there going against the Lakers, but that could be a bit of a stretch.
Still not quite enough.
But he is power forward center eligible. He was one of the few guys. Karis LeVert had multi-position eligibility for a bit. He doesn't right now, but they kind of change back and forth with some of their players. So that was just kind of a fun one there. But we'll spend the last half hour of the show from 7:30 until 8 o'clock focusing specifically on Super Draft. And if you use the promo code Awesemo when you make your first deposit, if it's $100, they'll give you immediately $20 in Super Cash, which is available for use into any contest.
We have Jacob. Sorry. Okay. Sorry. I hit the ownership by mistake. And hey, Eddie Fears NBA rankings. Let me click on that and see what everyone is seeing. Team. Let's sort by team. Okay. I see no Knicks now. So version 4, which is identical to version 3, but apparently with the incorrectly added Knicks issued, is up again.
Feels good. Aaron Gordon feels like he's about 8,500. Anthony Davis feels about 10, 12. Yeah. We'll do it live. 10-2. 10-4, good buddy. No one's going to get that reference.
I got 10-4, good buddy. Everything you said before that was meaningless to me, but 10-4, good buddy, I was the first reference I got.
Excellent. All right. Well,
this appears to be right to me, so harass Emacs some more if it isn't.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Or you know what I did earlier today? I said if we got to 100 likes, we were at like 20. I would skip the first ad read.
See, if I was our sponsor, that would bother me. But what do I know?
Well, I usually do a few extra. So so me skipping one is not happening at all. Darn it, we're live when I said that. Gotcha, guys. But we do enjoy the likes. It does help us out and gets us popping there in the YouTube algorithm page for recommended videos. All right, Eddie, let's jump on in here. Do you have much to say about Brooklyn and Miami? Because the big one we've got at 7:30 is Portland and Atlanta, which I know we'll want to spend some time on that.
Yeah, I'll take a brief minute and give that a run. I think Jimmy Butler is an exceptional play on DraftKings. He's one of my favorite at 7,800. I'm curious where other people have him ranked, but he's a priority for me, and he's not that much ahead of Bam Adebayo, who, again, especially on DK at a much more tolerable price in the mid eights. I'm also a pretty big fan of. Let me reload my notes. I shut them down to upload that. Those are the two guys I'm really excited about. Everyone else is dealing with a somewhat inflated salary from Jimmy Butler's absence, so everybody pops up a few $100. But still, the matchup with Brooklyn is a pretty strong one, whose defense has fallen off quite a bit recently. I don't have super interest in other guys. I do think Kelly Olynyk is worth taking a shot at in this matchup specifically. Obviously had an insane game in their last game off the bench, where he had, in 18 or 19 minutes or what have you, got near a triple double. That's not going to happen very frequently, but people have asked me about him today. I ranked him. I think you can go there. Duncan Robinson is only 4,000 on FanDuel. I find that kind of appealing for a GPP play. It's closer to 5 on DraftKings. That's a little tough for me. I would rather Goran Dragic, even on FanDuel, where he's $600 more, than Kendrick Nunn in this specific matchup with how the starter and bench rotations play out. So this would be a Dragic over Nunn night for me, which the two things we've done well at this year were Miami guards and Houston guards, until the Houston guards let me down against Memphis last time. But I'm still holding on to a good record with the Miami guards. This should be more Dragic-y than Nunny if I had to play one of them, but neither of them I'm a big fan of. But I do prefer Dragic by enough that even on FanDuel, where he's $600 more, I would prefer him to Kendrick Nunn at this point. Obviously on DraftKings, where he's, I think, straight up cheaper. But all those guys are, if you're trying to stack up on this game, or guys I'd have 3 of in 150 lineups. But I really like Jimmy Butler both sites, and I really like Bam Adebayo both sites. They both project to carry an enormous bit of the target load here. The two players I expect to really carry this game. Third and final contest between these two teams. Kyrie missed both of the first two. As you may or may not have specifically have mentioned, I think you said Hero is out. Myers Leonard is still out, which is some slight bit of, minutes addition for, Kelly Olynyk and a couple other guys. But the rest of the Heat for me are really secondary options. But I will load up our ownership for the first year time today and see where we have our Miami friends. But I suspect, at a guess, if they're about where I expect them to be, I would want to have somewhere around 20% Jimmy Butler and somewhere around 15 Adebayo, and I have a feeling those are a little bit higher than what we're seeing. Both sites really. FanDuel, there's enough value to carry them both. So let's see. We have Jimmy Butler at 10, and we have Bam Adebayo at 9. So I would be, if not double the field, somewhere close to it on both those guys. I'm a fan of the matchup. I think this game does stay a little bit close. I don't think Brooklyn continues to play as badly as they have recently. So anyhow, so I do have significant interest, especially in those two players. Across the ball, not sure exactly how well Caris LeVert is doing. Again, having rewatched significant portions of the two games earlier this year, Dinwiddie was exceptional. LeVert was in one of those games, but still in his not really healthy, not doing well, playing, I think, about 24 minutes off the bench. In his current role, he is really sort of knocking down the upside there. But now where you're saving 300 on FanDuel on Dinwiddie and 800 on Dinwiddie versus LeVert on DraftKings, I think I would slightly prefer that GPP play. Not a team I'm super looking to target. Not a great Jared Allen or DeAndre Jordan spot. Don't really want either of those guys at their prices, even though they're players I think about a fair amount. Also runs for me, actually, I would go with Garrett Temple if I was to look at another player from this game. After Dinwiddie would be, the first guy I'd try to sneak into a GPP lineup. Not a priority. I'd have 10%, which I think is over the field. Then I'd still have some significant amount of Levert. Obviously, can throw up a 60 burger. I'm not overly concerned with the matchup, but there are other better price plays. I prefer Devin Booker by quite a bit at almost identical prices to Karis LeVert, both FanDuel and DraftKings, for example. But after that, I would actually probably go to Garrett Temple. I think the minutes are for real. We're going to continue to see, into the mid 30s. Levert's condition and temperament notwithstanding, can contribute enough ways that I think that would be my third option. So that's my whole take on that game.
All right. Before we get into Portland, we do know that LeBron and Anthony Davis will play tonight. What do you think the starting lineup is going to be for the Lakers with Danny Green out? I will tell you. I'm just curious what your thought is. They
have. It has come out.
Yes.
I mean, they're gonna start LeBron, Bradley, Brow, JaVale McGee in this matchup. They'll start those four guys.
Yep.
So the way you're intuiting here, my first guess would have been Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, but I have a feeling with you chuckling like crazy that our very own Alex Baker will be getting the start.
Alex Caruso will indeed be starting for your Los Angeles Lakers tonight.
I did not see that coming. I did not expect that.
All right. Well, we'll get to that in just a moment. In the meantime, we do have Portland at Atlanta.
I mean, in fairness, I do want to say we have zero precedent for this. Danny Green has missed exactly one game this year, and LeBron James and Anthony Davis missed that game. So there was very little to pull from. That's gonna be a really interesting one. I'm gonna have to put some thought into that one and run a rotation because I figured KCP would get it, but let's go.
All right. Well, shout out to Ben Bennett, who just dropped a $24.99 super chat on us. Says he won his first GPP last night on the late slate for $3,000 and appreciates everything we do. Thank you,
Ben. Sir. Bravo to you. Nothing like your first time.
So true. So true. All right. Back to the other 7:30 start. You've got Portland at Atlanta. Atlanta favored by 1.5 at home. Obviously, Damian Lillard is out, as I mentioned earlier in the show, as DeAndre Bembry is as well. Let's see. Oh, it looks like Karis LeVert should be playing. It says with the hand injury. Sorry, I didn't know if we got that one confirmed. But with Portland, kind of interesting here. If we end up not getting DeAndre Aten, or if we're uncertain of that, then Hassan Whiteside in a very nice spot where you can look to him. You're spending a little bit more on most of the sites, but I like him. I'm good with CJ McCollum, and I kind of want to do a little game stacking on this one. Just by game stacking, I mean I'd like a McCollum, Whiteside, and then on the other side I'd like Trae Young, kind of a trio, if you will, for a few of my lineups. Thoughts on this game, starting with the Trailblazers, please.
All right, so this is the run back for these two teams. This is their last game of the year. They played for the first time 2 or 3 weeks into the season. I remembered it was a really fun game to watch. Not the best for research purposes today, looking back at it. It was about 2 weeks into the season, so but really a fun watch. They went to overtime, but you had Alex Len and Jabari Parker and Lillard starting, and Melo wasn't on the team yet, so it wasn't a whole lot to glean there. Unsurprisingly, Lillard was good, McCollum was good, Whiteside was certainly fine. There will be a question we will likely have answered at some point during the show as to whether or not John Collins is going to start again. Obviously, they are sans several centers. They have no Dedmon, no Scal, no Capella still. So it would be basically, presumably, Bruno Fernando. This last game, we saw John Collins get a significant majority of I think he played 32 32 minutes, something like 28 of which were at center. He started at center. They ran their young kids lineup, which I really enjoy as a lineup, with Young and Horder and Reddish and Hunter, and then John Collins. And I think getting those guys a lot of time together is a great idea for them on the season. I suspect they do it again, but there's definitely some chance, dealing with Whiteside, that they throw Fernando out there to sort of sacrificial lamb, suck up some fouls, suck up some playing time, just so Collins doesn't have to deal with that sort of bodying for a half hour. And that's not super crazy. Speaking of super crazy, great luchador. Anyhow, let's see. So, as mentioned previously, this is a 3 and 4 for Atlanta as well. This is a really dense schedule period for a whole lot of teams. Trey's been dealing with the flu for a little bit, so that's a bit of a thing. All that said, I still have him ranked as double A's. I really like Trae Young, site dependent. He is going to be around my favorite players. Him and Westbrook and Harden is an interesting question to talk about, but at the moment I lean towards Trey, but I also sort of expect other people to lean towards Trey. So I'm going to take a quick peek at our ownership here and see what we're talking about. From this game, we have Hassan Whiteside highest at 33%. I would probably have less than that. It's obviously a great matchup, but Hassan Whiteside ceiling at 9,300 games are usually going to come with 8 or 9 blocks, which even in good matchups are difficult to predict. So at 9,300, if Aten is out, I like the value with Chris. I really like Andre Drummond, admittedly carrying a whole lot of risk there. But I would come in under that number. The second highest owned fellow we have in this game is Trae Young. We have him at 27%. I think that's fine. I might even be a little bit higher. But it's all systems go. He was fantastic in that game I rewatched earlier today. I don't expect it to be any harder, putting in lots of Trent and the occasional Simons in place of Lillard. So no real issue there. We have Melo at 20%, 21%. That feels fine. We have McCollum at 20.2%. I would have more than that. And
what would you go McCollum directly against Trey?
I'm sorry, what was your question? Which
McCollum
would I prefer,
or Trey?
McCollum or Trey?
Yeah.
We have Trey at 27%. I suspect I would have nominally more than that, 30, 32, 33. We have McCollum at 20%. I would have less McCollum than Trey, I think, but I would have a greater superfluity relative to the field. So if I have 30% McCollum and 33 Trey, I'm taking a stronger stand on McCollum. I have McCollum for 50.5 fantasy points. That will point per dollar end up being a little bit better than Trey, a little bit better than Whiteside. I slightly prefer getting to Trey, although at their ownerships, this would all end up pretty nominal to me. But my biggest takeaway there would be if McCollum, I know McCollum at 20%, $9,200, really, there is some sticker shock there. But I would end up over the top of that. And we have Trent a little higher than Ariza. That's good. That's where I had them. The matchup favors Trent a little bit more. Ariza likely to see more of the guys on the team who can play any defense whatsoever. And if you look at a really poor Atlanta defensive scheme, it's all good for everybody, but it's very slightly less outstanding for the guys playing the 3 and the 4. And especially if they go small, you get some decent defense out of Hunter and Reddish. Those guys are getting a little bit done on that end. So leans a little bit more towards a Trent matchup than an Ariza matchup for me. Right now we have Trent at about 21%, Ariza at about 18%. That's not quite enough of an ownership discount, so I would probably stick with Trent if I was building a single lineup. But these guys are heavily owned. People are a little reluctant and reticent on John Collins sitting at around 9,000. He's about half owned all these other guys we're talking about. That's probably a little bit low. The ceiling is there. This game scheduled to stay close, has the highest over-under by a pretty significant margin. Not a ton to add there. It is risky. I do worry about foul trouble for him. I do think him playing at center. First of all, you want him playing at center. If he's not playing at center, it's a downgrade for him. Yes, he gets away from dealing more with Whiteside. It's a little safer for him in cash because his foul trouble issues are a little likely to reveal themselves when he's playing more out on the perimeter, but it also knocks the upside a little bit. So if I'm playing him in a tournament lineup, I would want him starting at the 5 regardless still. Outside that, we have, let's look at our rankings on these guys. I expected them to be lowest owned, and I actually have them projected just a little. I have them for fantasy points projected. Porter, Hunter, Reddish, talking about the also rans on this team, but at the ownership, I thought I would like Hunter the most, and I do like Hunter the most. So if I'm trying to pick a wing from the game and that price works for me, Hunter would be the first one I put in. I have no issue if, for price reasons, that turns into either of the other two. It is a fairly superficial difference between them, but I would actually go to Hunter first. And again, if they go back to playing significant size again, it's Reddish whose minutes are most directly threatened. Hunter and Hoarder would be a bit more secure there. Someone just asked in the chat, is Michael Mulder worth a peek tonight? Do any of you think? Yeah, if Draymond is out, I would put Michael Mulder's fantasy. I would put his minutes at like 34.
The truth is out there, Eddie. Trust no one.
Okay.
Mulder.
No, okay.
The truth is out there. Come on.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to work here. Like, it's not that I don't like a good pop culture reference. I do. I'm just.
We were almost focused. I had to make sure that didn't happen.
Yeah, I'm just talking about basketball. People wouldn't have known who I was at that point. But yeah, Michael Mulder, they don't have any point guards left. They have half a point guard in Damian Lee and half a point guard in, Draymond Green. If Green plays, I have him ranked as, an A in GPPs. I like him quite a bit. His triple-double upside is really there in this matchup, and he'll bring the ball up and handle the ball a lot in a good matchup for it. So I would like him quite a bit. If he's out, and you have to keep in mind, there is a good bit of coach speak here. Steve Kerr is absolutely the guy who goes out and plays Michael Mulder 36 minutes. Absolutely. If I had to pick one coach in the NBA, like literally, here's the situation. All the point guards are out. You're Michael Mulder. You can pick any one guy to coach your team to give you the most minutes tonight. I would pick Steve Kerr. Absolutely. He's this guy like, this we're going to give this. He tends to really run the string out on guys who are playing on the 10 days. Yeah, I think if Draymond is out, he starts at point guard and plays 30 plus minutes. I would probably have to project him for around 30, just because obviously the ceiling isn't that big. They're going to say, all right, Damian Lee, you're going to do the best you can and go out there and play point guard. But yep, I'm very intrigued by Michael Mulder, and I do not expect many people to really get there. So yeah, that would make me super intrigued.
All right, let's look here at Lakers and Memphis. You were in the back of your mind utilizing that time to come up with filling in the blanks for not seeing this particular starting lineup before. Now that you've gnawed on a little bit, do you like Alex Caruso? We do know that Jake Puddle is starting. Jakob Poeltl, for those of you that aren't aware of that.
It's all happening.
Is it Poeltl? Is it Caruso? What do we do, Eddie? What do we do? Is it Mulder?
I would probably rather play. Sorry, in an attempt to be profitable, I would probably rather play Poeltl than either of the other two. I think it's fun to play Mulder or Scully, but Mulder, if we find out that he's starting, especially, like, keep a close eye, try to leave a spot open for that, which I believe is the absolute final game, which is unfortunate, but we are pretty densely packed as far as schedule goes. That game is at 9. So that game starts in 2 hours and 6 minutes. So we will probably have that news. If you find out Mulder is starting, which if Draymond is out, I don't know if it's there yet. I'd say there's a likelihood. I will say in the event that Draymond doesn't play, again, this is some knowing Steve Kerr, because most teams wouldn't do this, but I would expect that if Draymond Green is out, that Michael Mulder would start and play really significant time. He played 22 minutes last game, I want to think. Yeah. So it's not crazy to think that becomes 32 or something. But so for ownership, he would probably end up being my favorite of those guys. As far as Poeltl goes, obviously now this Aldridge's 6th game out. Again, screw you, Aldridge. We had a near perfect day, and you messed it up by having a undisclosed shoulder injury in what had been like your best possible matchup. But all right. So Poeltl. So it was interesting having looked at those 4 previous starting games that in what is a unique anachronism, and perhaps where I failed, is that there were not really any decent outside shooting teams in the individual games previously that LaMarcus Aldridge had missed. He had missed a game against Houston. He had missed a game against Detroit. He had missed a game against Utah, obviously, because that was the last one where Pirtle did see very limited time, which was surprising. And he had missed a game against, I don't know, I want to say a Bulls was the 4th game he had missed, but he hadn't missed a game against a team that had a center that could really step out and shoot against him. And then he had Dallas. And I've heard people say, well, he didn't play because the game went really small. That was half of it. The other half of it was he's not a great job at guarding someone who can, especially 7+ footers who can step back and take a 3-pointer and, really play outside. That is not his strength. He's very good inside. So coming into today, I was concerned about a matchup with Vooch. These two teams did play earlier this year, so this is the run back as well for the Spurs and the Magic. But with him starting, he is a very, very productive player. His price is, I don't remember what his price is. What's the price now? Jakob Poeltl.
I want to say 34, but that is off my head.
Yeah, it's in whatever. It is in the low 3s. I would not get carried away with the projection in this system, them showing obviously that they'd go small. Their head coach obviously plays into this as well. But at the moments, I would have him projected something like 25 minutes and 24 fantasy points. I am curious, what does Alex have him projected for?
Well, I now have his prices. I'll pull the other stuff up. He's 32 on DK, 43 on FanDuel, and 14 on Yahoo. Let's see. With Alex, he has him at 28 fantasy points.
Okay. And how many minutes? Because I'm guessing he has more minutes than me, I presume.
Yeah, I don't. Hang on, it takes me a second to get to our minutes.
I earlier today said if he started, I expected him to play 25 minutes. I'm guessing Alex has him somewhere around 29, if I'm remembering rates correctly, and how I think he would factor the matchup.
Alex has him at 29.
Yeah, there you go. I think that's a little ambitious, in my opinion, for a couple of reasons. I still like him quite a bit. 3,200 is an incredibly small price. This will come down to ownership, so we will readdress this issue in 15 minutes, let's say, when we have our most recent ownership update. They are starting Collins at center again. So good. Collins at center. Better for you if you were going to take him in GPPs. You should like that. A little bit better for Whiteside if you were trying to look that way. Better for almost all the fantasy producers in this game, honestly, unless you were trying to get some Bruno Fernando in your life, in which case, so sorry.
All right, for those of you playing NHL, Burakowski was just scratched. Okay. Just checking to see if
Three people watching this game.
I do not have him in my lineup, so I am good to go.
Okay, I know we were all worried about your hockey lineups, and thank you for clearing that up for us.
Just saying, if that saves people even a tiny bit of money, that's a good feature we have here for the hockey Slack.
So you're gonna like this one, kind of like Anthony Davis now.
Okay.
It's still a really exceptional spot, and we have to look at the ownership on Davis and LeBron and have a big conversation there. This is also the 4th meeting between these two teams. We've seen some very big games out of Anthony Davis and LeBron in the previous ones. Unsurprisingly, Browse slightly better in one of them, much better in one the first time they played this year, which you're talking about first or second week of the year, I think it was. Doesn't really matter. But he had a 40-20 game, if memory serves. Can't remember if it was that game or the last one where he also had a 7-block game. I still like Anthony Davis just fine. So if this news came out early enough that maybe his ownership does get knocked significantly, and people can be like, oh, thank God, I can now get Trey, Westbrook, Harden, McCollum, the other guys in that range. If he knocks down to, 15% or so, I'm going to be very, very excited there. Alex Caruso, I'm officially going to, I assume, do we have an ownership update?
No, I'm trying to kill a porn bot here.
Good luck. Kill it with fire.
We do not have an ownership update yet.
Okay, I presume he will go higher than I want him to. Um, I am guessing 20% or so is where I'd like to see Alex Caruso. If you think you're going to get Alex Caruso at 20%, if we think you're going to get Alex Caruso at 20%, that feels fine for me. But as is the case with many guys we're going to talk about today, in and of and by itself, moving into the starting lineup is not good. Okay. Going from the bench unit where you have usually one of them, more frequently with Caruso gets a little more time next to LeBron than Anthony Davis, to playing next to LeBron and Anthony Davis, both of them the whole time, is not a net positive. Now, LeBron likes playing with him and has said so several times. It's not like he can't get to an upside. The matchup is brilliant, but moving into the starting lineup will hinder his usage. It's good news for Rondo. I'm fine going back to $4,200 Rondo now. I'd probably rather do that by a little bit in a single GPP lineup who gets to have a much safer role with that second unit there. Um, Kind of like to try KCP at this point. Don't mind if you want to play Avery Bradley. Danny Green being out is going to open some things up for all these guys, but they frequently start one of these wings guys and he plays 21, 22, 23 minutes. You could get 30 minutes out of Caruso. You could get 22 minutes out of Caruso. It happens to one of the guys there starting on the wing pretty frequently. If you look at, I don't know, Danny Green's game log starting, Avery Bradley's game log starting, whomever happens to be picking up those wing positions, it is a movable feast. So I don't have an issue if you have any amount of Alex Caruso because it's fun to have Alex Caruso. It's just fun to have Alex Caruso. So have a good time. He's not expensive. Go right ahead. But depending on how popular he is, I probably couldn't endorse it as necessarily a cash positive play. He would sacrifice some usage here. I'm not sure it's net any kind of change for him, and you know, it leaves more of the second unit for Kuzma, Rondo, KCP, things like that. Rondo, now solidified to be handling the ball a lot. This is a groin injury for LeBron, which is something that obviously cost him a big old chunk last year. Good that he's getting in there, but they obviously this is and they play tomorrow. It's really important to point out here. The Lakers on the front end of a back-to-back, they play, I think, the Pellies again tomorrow. I think they close out the Pelicans schedule tomorrow, which you really have to think they're going to get up for. And they're right. And so you get, Zion take again. And that was a fun game and everyone paid attention to that. So, yeah, and they could put their foot down there. So we'll talk about it when we get another ownership read. We'll call it 7:15. I'm going to do just a hard ownership look at these guys and talk about how I would react to it. But I suspect there will be more ownership on Alex Caruso than I would like. If he's starting, I would much prefer Mulder. I think the minutes are more secure. I think the matchup probably nets out to actually being better and there's also less chance that Caruso plays in blowout run now. They have other guys who are going to now run the point in blowout run, and there's very possibly a blowout here. Only once in the 3 times they played this year, for what it's worth. The Lakers are 3-0. They won one game by a point, and one by like 10, and one by like 20. But this is a Memphis team that is not looking very good recently. Them and the Jazz, I suppose, the two teams most looking like crap at the moment. So, yeah. So as far as takes go, that's where I would come down. I'm really interested in the Mulder play, but in a vacuum right now, like an early lock site, I would have to play Caruso at this point. That's fine. If I have the ability to move around, I would really try to leave that spot open for potentially Michael Mulder if he starts, who's pretty good. Like he's not dissimilar from Caruso as far as level of talent and what I would expect to be, scoring ability.
Any interest in the Grizzlies? We've got Ja Morant at 14%, Dylan Brooks at 12%. Joe Val at 10, so not a lot of the field going there. And then someone did point out to me earlier today, I missed this completely, but Avery Bradley, revenge, 20 games.
Yeah, I thought it was like 15 games, but he played some with
something like 12 games with 15 probably around there.
Yeah, he played it was really good for them last year.
That's what Adam said. He's like, oh my god, it was during the live finals. It was a great moment. They had him running offense in the pick and roll, and I said,
but he got there and he put his thing down. I would have Valanciunas well behind the others there.
Okay.
It is not a good matchup. They are obviously on the back-to-back. even the exceptional game and I like playing J-Val whenever I can, but just coming off that massive game last night, that inflates his ownership. And the massive game last night was on the back of 23 rebounds. There's just an absolutely crazy number of rebounds against a Kings team that does not rebound very well. Tonight, the guys rebounding are, point guard LeBron James, and then, Anthony Davis and Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee. And it's not any kind of matchup like that. And just doesn't make sense that they'll chuck it into him. Having Caruso out there, he's actually a pretty good defender. He fits in this team really nicely. I like Alex Caruso as a player, but and an employer. But I would I like John Morant. I like Dillon Brooks quite a bit. The most notable thing out of Dillon Brooks, besides the exceptional minutes, is just running a lot of the offense through him. He is touching the ball a lot. I think he's over 20 shots in each of the last couple games, and is a super streaky guy. So he's one of those guys. Over a few years now, we see him be crap for 90% of his games for 6 weeks, and then good for 90% of his games for a month. Like, he really is streaky. But with the absence of Clark and Triple J, they have been running much more like two-guard swings, and you just end up with more three-pointers, more shots out of those guys. So I like Morant, not as much as I like Brogdon, but I like Morant in that price range quite a bit. I'd rather go to Broggy Pants on FanDuel, where they're both well too cheap.
Yeah, we had a few people asking for thoughts on Brogdon. If you want to scoot on over to that game, we can.
Yeah, I like Brogdon quite a bit. Having Depot back concerning. That's not the biggest thing, but he's looked good for me and lost minutes to blowouts and various other things. So he's just too cheap. I like Broggy Pants quite a bit. I would prefer him to Morant at the same price. That being said, I like Morant quite a bit on DraftKings, where I think he's like $900 cheaper than Broggy. So I like Andre Drummond. I'm just going to pivot to that because he's in the game with Brogdon, because we haven't talked about this yet. I have no idea what they're going to do at center. You could see Nance. You could see Zizic. If you see 31 minutes out of Andre Drummond at center, he'd be my favorite center of the night. Like, you're just talking about minutes, and I don't know what the hell they're going to do, but he has made a career out of bludgeoning the living piss out of Miles Turner for 5 years, and they play constantly. And he consistently is amazing against him. Again and again and again and again. I don't want to download the game log, but it's like a snuff film. I'll do it just because I love you all, but it's not pretty. We will talk about Andre Drummond games where he and Miles Turner start at center. Hold on to your butts. I have it in here somewhere. I should have it in here somewhere. Gonna have to really thought I populated this not long ago.
Alex,
there it is.
Alex Caruso turned 26 yesterday.
Sorry?
Alex Caruso turned 26 yesterday.
Yep. Yeah. Birthday boy. So he should be hammered. That definitely will help him too. I'm kidding. I have no reason to think he's hammered. Here we go. Who's ready for some Andre Drummond games starting against Miles Turner? 30 seconds of your life you can never get back. I know some of you have heard it before, but it's just fun for me. Here we go. I will include minutes this time because this really does come down to minutes. 3 times this year. Here we go. 41 minutes, 25 points, 22 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 steals, and 2 blocks. 38 minutes, 18 points, 18 rebounds, 1 assist, and 2 blocks. I guess that one's kind of disappointing. Like, that's like 52 and 38 minutes. So that's like the worst. Let's see. The earlier one this year, 32 points and 23 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, and 4 blocks. I can't even count that high. That's like 85 fantasy points. Let's traverse into the last year. 28 points, 19 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, and 3 blocks. The game before that, that one was 43 minutes. Maybe there was overtime there. I don't recall. 18 points, 17 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 steals, no blocks. What's wrong, Andre? No blocks. Slacker. Game before that, 26 and 16, 1 assist, 2 steals, and 3 blocks. I'm not skipping any, by the way. This is all of them. Game before that, only played 25 minutes, 12 and 12 with a steal and 3 blocks. Okay. And then before that, it's 21 and 18, 23 and 18. It's pretty absurd, but it's only been outstanding 9 times in a row. So maybe he's got an undisclosed shoulder injury. He obviously has a disclosed calf injury. But I don't I could talk about the game more, it's outstanding, and it's a team where he, and Tristan Thompson is out. I presume everybody knows is the source of this. Now, I don't know how much he's going to play. I don't know I assume he will start. We probably have that already.
For who? For
Andre Drummond.
Let me look.
If we have
we did get ownership, by the way.
Good. I will look at that in just a second. Are we at 7:15? No, we're at 7:09.
7:09. So, but we got a couple more games real quick too. So.
I will ramble out. We can do every. I guess there was no show before, so I'm just realizing that. Sorry.
No, we ran an hour and a half. Not right before us, but Adam and I did an hour and a half on it today.
This morning.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess not that much has changed.
Not much change for a Saturday. I will say that.
Yeah. Not terribly crazy. Do we have a? I do not believe we have a Cavaliers lineup. Was my point.
We do not. I'm looking.
It is not 100% that Andre Drummond starts. In which case, just get him the hell out of there because minutes is the question. You should put him at somewhere around 1.5, 1.6 fantasy points per minute. Have a good time after that. That's a little bit conservative. There's a lot of people were like, Anthony Davis had a bad game the other day. Really a bad game. I think he played 25 minutes at 39 fantasy points. So 1.575. Am I getting that right? Almost 1.6 would be 40. So he had 39. That's not a bad game. I alluded to before. So talking about Harden and Westbrook versus Boston tonight. And again, we saw this game a couple of weeks ago. Both Harden and Westbrook were exceptional. This was slightly before the break, but using the new look no center, we will call it for the moment. Rockets lineup in that last game against Memphis, or the last game in the show that I was on. I liked Harden a bit more, but he got in foul trouble. I said I thought he'd take 18 3-pointers. He took 12 through three quarters. Didn't come in the fourth quarter because they blew them out by 30-something. And he got in foul trouble, which cost him a few minutes. So he played 28 minutes and had 46 fantasy points, which is like 1.75, 1.8 fantasy points a minute. Wasn't a bad game, but they blew them out. And he lost a couple minutes to foul trouble. So he didn't get there. But my point being, both were plays that just didn't happen to work out, but that I think were the right plays. And if the guys get the minutes, they were going to get there. They look good. Tonight, I do prefer Westbrook at their prices. Again, if you look at that Memphis game, Harden did about exactly what was expected, but I think he again only played 28 minutes. Westbrook got to 34 due to the foul trouble, and Westbrook getting his beginning of the fourth quarter stint, and they didn't bring Harden back. Westbrook shot like 75% from the field, had a very good game. Westbrook had 4 stocks, and Harden had 1. So Westbrook ended up being the play that day. And I think he is the play here as well. It's a different situation, especially this Celtics team. Getting Kemba out of there tilts it actually a little bit more towards Westbrook, believe it or not. 3-point line ends up being guarded a little better, which has a lot to do with this. So you will get more of that pick and slide Westbrook driving. So I do think it tilts towards him. At the moment, I would probably still have Trey on top, but I would have him Trey, Westbrook, Harden as far as my degree of appeal towards those 3 expensive point guards, unless the ownership is very different from what I expect. I was going to go into ownership, but if you have things to say about other games,
well, we've nibbled at the Phoenix one enough. We got to Orlando. Oh, Houston and Boston was kind of the one we didn't really hit.
All right, I like Marques Crest quite a bit at $5,400. I don't like him as much as Drummond. Presuming you give him, let's say, 31 plus minutes is where I kind of put the line as I would be very interested in him. Drummond costs like 7.2 or 7.3 now, which is appropriate. Dude was playing 25 minutes a game. And I guess I should say, I will take the under on 31 minutes. They can play Ante Zizic. They can play Larry Nance at center. They can play Kevin Love at center. And he's not getting along with the team, and they don't seem to like him. So I really like him because I don't expect him to be significantly owned at all, and because there is a slate-breaking upside. He could play 36 minutes as the starting center, score 69 fantasy points, and just win you the day. That's why I really like playing Andre Drummond. But he's another player who's not getting along with his team incredibly well right now. And so if you ask me to project his minutes, I would probably say starting in 26 or 27 right now, which makes him a fine play, but obviously very risky. It ends up being very Valanciunas-y when you're spending $7K, a little over $7K on a center who you're expecting to only play mid to high 20s in minutes. But that seems like it had to be said. Probably it is site dependent of the various Celtics options today. I do think I like Jaylen Brown the most. Tatum is approaching a price that I don't think is particularly appealing in the matchup he's going to be dealing with. And I don't mean the Rockets. I mean that he sees varying amounts of Tucker and Covington, both of whom have done a pretty decent job. We're alluding to that game a few weeks ago. I don't recall Tatum's game, but that probably means it wasn't particularly exceptional.
For this matchup?
when he played the Celtics 2 weeks ago.
Yep. So this was the only game
when he
where
played the Rockets 2 weeks ago.
Yep, he had 15 points, 5 of 15 from the field. Did not make a 3-pointer the only time in the last 12
Right, he was
games.
0 for 7 in that game. It's that one.
And but he 5 for 9 from the line. Yeah, he was shitty.
He had stocks. He salvaged a bit because he had 6 stocks. He had some, so that we didn't end up being a death fantasy day.
Yeah.
But there's just better options to go to where someone's got Harden, even though his defense is well improved. Someone's now going to have a one-legged Eric Gordon. That's not going to hurt that guy terribly. So I have Brown and Hayward, the guys I'm a little more interested in. I do like them still more than Smart. You can always run Smart in a GPP, especially FanDuel. Price is a little better, and 3 for a steal and a block, particularly good for him. Don't mind Tice. I doubt in this matchup you see. I'll go with any Enes Kanter. I don't know. Gun to my head, I don't know if I would say Enes Kanter steps on the court tonight. I think I would say yes. Greater than 50% he plays, but it would be really hard for him to get the minutes he would need to get there in this kind of matchup. Not insane to think that there's no one out there who can guard him terribly well. He's a very good offensive player. He can play over the top of PJ Tucker, unlike some other centers who have struggled with it, even guys with a refined game, because he can be that kind of annoying. Don't really want a Wanamaker, but ranked him. Moving on. Some interest in Kevin Love, $6,700. The minutes are obviously going to be a movable feast. It is not a great matchup. He is a C in cash, but he's an A in GPPs for me. The absence of Tristan doesn't hurt him and quite possibly helps him. I can certainly see doing that. Just moving through as quickly as I can, trying to get to things. Again, I do like Marques Crest quite a bit. I like the matchup for him. I expect him to get significant time. I expect his usage to come up a little bit. I expect to see more post ball, which should be successful in this matchup. You want Aten in desperately, I might add. You do not want Aaron Baines starting if you are playing Marques Crest. You can still play him. 5,400 is fine. But you want Aten starting in that game. I would be well less excited if you had, say, Aaron Baines. I still think he's fine, but it would be a significant peg down for me. Talking more about the Warriors there, yeah, it's a matchup I like, and there's going to be some usage to go around. I really like Andrew Wiggins at $6,800. I have him ranked as a AA. And Marques Crest, by the way. I think they're playable in cash. I think they're strong cash plays. Andrew Wiggins is perfectly happy to go out and ISO 51 times. So, yeah, I'm a fan of those guys. I presume they will start if Draymond is in. Wiggins, Draymond, Chris. Probably Lee Pascal. You might get Lee Bender with Draymond Green starting basically as point guard. If Draymond is out as well, yeah, I think Michael Mulder will get the start. And so I feel like I touched on almost anything. Give me questions, and I'm gonna look at ownership.
All right, I hope the smoking man's in this one.
Like Harrison Ford, I'm getting frantic. Is that I picked up even that it's I got X-Files and the song lyric.
I'm trying to redeem myself in your eyes, Eddie. Trying to go for the double.
It's you're good for life. You've built up enough cred that it'd be yours.
All right. Let's see here. Your buddy Rin.
I do like DeMar DeRozan. I also still slightly prefer Devin Booker from a raw points projection. On FanDuel, I'm going to prefer Devin Booker. On DraftKings, I prefer DeMar DeRozan outright because he's saving you. I think it's $500. And I don't look at the matchup as that bad for him due to how much funneling is going on with that defense at this point. Aaron Gordon is still another fairly good spot for him. He is, I mean, the minutes, a couple of things he's doing are for real. He's the biggest thing. I'll give you a 20-second version of this. The biggest thing is he's playing at the 4. He's a tremendous power forward. He's a fairly crappy small forward, and they've insisted through many coaches back to Skiles' days of playing him at the 3. And he is really, really good at the 4. He's better at both ends of the court on the 4. So when you start him at the 4 next to James Ennis, he is a much, much better basketball player than he is when you start him at the 3 next to Ken Burch. So getting Isaac out of there, he is going to, bump up to an 8.5 rebound per 36 guy, and then putting him in there at 40 minutes or something. Yeah, him getting like 10 to 12 rebounds each of the last 4 games is slightly high, but the minutes are real. The rebounds are real. The shooting's a little more than you'll get out of him over the long term. So he is, overproducing. He's one of a few guys on today's slate we talked about who are currently playing a little over their head. and the price is going up. So they are going to slam into a ceiling at some point. But I do like the spot very much for Aaron Gordon. I don't mind getting back there tonight. It's not super priority for me, but I imagine I don't see his name on our top page here. So he's some high single digit owned. I probably have more because a lot of that is for real. Shooting will come down a little bit. Stocks will come down a little bit. He's getting, both steals and blocks at slightly higher, though the blocks again have something to do with being near the damn basket. But that's more real than some of the other guys just playing their ass off right now. Kobe wasn't on the main slate, but Kobe's price is going up, 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 and he is also shooting way over his head, and he's not a guy who does much but get buckets. And when Kobe White runs into, he's gonna hit a hard wall at some point. The minutes are real, and he's gonna continue to take the shots in those minutes, but he's gonna eventually make less of them. The prices keep going up, so that's sort of similar to Aaron Gordon in that sense. But I don't mind getting to Aaron Gordon at or even over the field a little bit. It's a good spot for him. And if you think you're going to see, I don't know how many times we get 40 minutes, you get 36, 38 minutes out of Aaron Gordon. That still feels pretty good to me, even at that price.
If Mulder does not start, would you play him? What are the chances he gets 6x is what they're asking.
6x. It's 3,400 on DK. So it's 20.4 fantasy points. If he didn't start, I would project him for probably 24 minutes and a touch less than that. So I'd say 46%. Pulling a number out of my ass there, but less than half, but not much less than half, I would say would be the odds that he gets to the number you're requesting. Okay. If he doesn't start, I would have him under Caruso, who we don't have climbing very high on ownership here. We have Pirtle at 46%.
All right. Just once, Renpack wants you to talk a little bit about Pirtle, but I want to remind everybody we are going for that extra half hour Super Draft locks at 8 o'clock tonight. So we will spend from 7:31 onward talking about that.
Lots of Mulder love. Any love for Juan Toscano Anderson? You need Draymond to be out. If Draymond's out, I'm going to like that quite a bit. That would change my minute projection for him from 22 to like 26 and a half, I think, when I did the rotations either way with that earlier today. So you want Draymond to be out. A little dicey. Thoughts of Jared Allen tonight on FanDuel? I'm fine with it. Not a particularly great matchup, but the ownership is appropriately low, so you can fire that bullet. I wouldn't mind it, but not someone I'm specifically. Thoughts on Wiggins? I absolutely love him. Pascal or Lee? Lee, not terribly close for me. I like the matchup better for him. The minutes are more secure, and he will start and play 34 or 35 minutes, whereas Pascal might come off the bench and play 20 minutes. That's still in the realm of possibilities. We had seen previously this year with similar lineup situations, Pascal starting at the 3. They had the opportunity to do that last game and did not. They started Bender at the 4, the game before last. But for me, that would be Lee, not very close. Jake Puddle, 14% on FanDuel. Thoughts? I don't know what his price is there. That sounds extremely low.
42, I think it was, on FanDuel.
I will say again, I do think 29 minutes is too optimistic for Jake Puddle. It is not impossible, and there's a ceiling beyond that. I'm top of my heading this, but if you went back and looked at the 4 games in which he played relevant minutes without Aldridge this year, I'm pretty sure he got there was obviously the Gobert game where he played 22, and there was another one that was in the mid to high 20s. And then you had like a 32 and a 34 minute game because of his relative lack of skill in peripheral movement and guarding out towards the line. If this game turns into another crazy Terrence Ross game or turns into Vooch repeatedly dropping 20 footers on his head, I think that can come down. I don't think 10 minutes is in the cards at all anymore, so he's an excellent play by any mathematical standard. But him being played to the bench would not surprise me for several reasons, including the fact that he plays for Greg Popovich. Please stop Eddie from touting Drummond. He's spilling the beans. Well, I just gave you some numbers. You may do what you wish with them. I really hope I appropriately cautioned that they don't like him. So he's in that whole situation with several guys I talk about all the time where they round down when choosing how much to play him. They're trying to win this game. He should start the game and play 38 minutes. Period. It's not even a close question. But they could play him 24 minutes and play, Nance 16 at center and Ante Zizic 8. That would not surprise me whatsoever. So I don't think he's owned enough. I think there is a massive upside, so I'm excited about the play. but I'm not surprised if it falls on its face because of minutes. Reddish and Morant or Brooks and Lee DK pricing. I would prefer Brooks and Lee right now out of those particular pairings. Sarge and Pascal, thoughts on FanDuel? I would rather play Pascal at this point. Ariza or Pascal, DK cash. Definitely Ariza in cash, not close. What 3K value would you play on DK? Trying to think who costs 3K that I ranked. I have this nice button here so I can do this. Assuming Aten is in, I did not rank a 3K player. After that, you have Wanamaker, DJ Augustine, and TJ McConnell, none of which are very exciting at 3,100. If you had 3,200, John Conchar is fun, is consistently getting a role, and would play in a blowout if the Lakers, which they quite possibly do, smack the crap out of them. Though if you have 3,200, Jakob Poeltl, I hear, is pretty good. Do you think there's any chance that a non-starting Michael Mulder goes for 6x or more? Yes, I think there's a 40-some-odd% chance. We just had that question. You probably read it before. DeMar or Butler for DK cash? It's a good question. I would play DeMar in cash. I like both those players. I would play DeMar in cash. Okay, ask me things.
What do you think the odds are that DeAndre Ayton plays, and what would your pivot contingencies be, assuming we don't have? I'm trying to.
I think he's going to play. I would say something like 65-35 toward the end. That he does suit up and play in this game. My pivot contingencies, it ends up being a miss after that. I would have a lot of interest in a starting Aaron Baines. He's 3K flat. The matchup is extremely good.
And you'd really need a 2v2 from that last game to help yourself out, I think.
Yeah, I'm fuzzy on who's playing in which games at what time. So for some reason I'm actually having a little trouble.
No, it's okay. We do have two 8:30 games. So we should know. So the 8:30 games are Houston, Boston, Orlando, and San Antonio. So you could always somehow get to Vooch. You could, I don't know, work some magic if you've got him in your utility.
I would like Booker even more.
Okay, that's the follow-up question. So people were asking.
Booker is already a priority for me. I don't think he's quite owned enough. So really like me some Devin Booker, and even more of a fan in the event DeAndre Ayton is out. When you turn DeAndre Ayton's 21 shots into, Aaron Baines' 7, I get well more interested in that team. The rest of the team is dicey. I don't know what they're going to do with the minutes. I really don't want to spend 5K on Saric, though it is a really nice matchup. I don't really want to spend more than 5K on McCall Bridges. But this is a team that's turning the ball over a fair amount, and a lot of his value is going to come from steals. And if he hits a GPP upside, it's going to be there. I like Booker well more than Rubio. It's obviously a great matchup, so you can feel free to Rubio if you want. Yep.
All right. Sorry, I'm hitting crunch here, and I'm about to miss my window. But
no, I don't want you to miss your window.
Is there any other questions you're getting from our peeps here?
I am just looking at the premium Slack tonight. Apologies. Usually I have. I've been having the YouTube open a bit recently. I do not have it open now. I understand the Caruso love. I think we spent enough time on that. I don't have any issue with any amount of Caruso. He's starting in an excellent matchup, playing with a couple guys who can absolutely facilitate the ball to him brilliantly. Feel free to Caruso yourself to death. But it's going to come down to a minutes question, and it is not weird. I would be surprised if he played 30 minutes. I'll phrase it that way.
How much do you think LeBron plays tonight?
Right. Yeah, brother.
With the back-to-back tomorrow and all that fun.
Yeah, back-to-back tomorrow, unlimited by injury, and with New Orleans. I would say, gun to my head right now, put a line on LeBron James minutes. I would say like 29.
Okay, 30 is the number I had in my head. So
that what you had? Yeah. And so I'm curious what there's a ceiling there, and so I'm gonna go through some ownership one more time. How many Blazers is too many in DK cash? In cash, it's even higher than in GPPs, and that's a good concept. We're 90 seconds out, so I'll just talk about it. Did you say for Reddish or Hunter on FanDuel? I would prefer Hunter on FanDuel. Sarge 3,800 on FanDuel. I like that much more than the 49. I think it is on DK. I didn't realize that strong. Aten would add some. Would add some upside to him. So 3,800, I'm absolutely fine on FanDuel. Yeah, I'm absolutely fine. Thank you for correcting me. I did not realize that. Can you touch on DJ Augustine really quick? Worth a punt. He would be a cash punt for me. Probably currently my favorite. $3,100 exactly cash punt. 32, you can get to Poeltl. But at 31, he should play. I think I have him for 21 minutes in this particular spot and 17 fantasy points in a 3,100. That's not crazy. So punt, cash only for me. How many Blazers is too many in cash? Cash, I would want more than in GPPs. In GPPs, basically, you want to give yourself a shot at first prize, so you want everyone to be exceptional. So the odds that 3 of them are exceptional is obviously significantly geometrically better than 4 of them being exceptional. So that's much more of a limitation for me. In a great matchup, you almost guarantee yourself a fairly safe floor, which has a lot to do with building a cash lineup when you take 4 guys playing the Hawks. If you take, Ariza and McCollum and Whiteside and Melo, you should be getting, whatever it would be, 168 fantasy points out of those guys. Probably at least one of them won't be great, but it's very hard for that to fail on its face. So my limit would be higher in cash than it would be in GPPs. So I suspect my limit would be something like 4. That would obviously make me feel better if it was some of the cheaper ones. But if you had, I imagine, Ariza, Trent, Melo, McCollum, that wouldn't bother me.
All right, we are at lock. Thank you for doing that. I did get my lineups up. Fortunately, I have the third that I didn't get in, saved for the 8 o'clock or later games, so I can just easily fix that. But let's talk a little daddy likes. We're going to let DK flip their database over. So reminder for Superdraft here, we're going to talk about them as well. That's at superdraft.io. Of course, they do not have salary caps, so hey, we can play anybody we want. Why wouldn't we play a bunch of all-stars? Well, the super duper stars generally have a multiplier. What's a multiplier? Well, it's what we put against the fantasy points. So the really good guys like Davis, Harden, Westbrook usually have a 1 or 1.05. The guys that are the yeomen, the harder working guys, we would like to say, the guys that need to...
Yeomen? Is that what you said?
I throwing. Well, that's what human. Yeah, there you go.
No, I know of the guard. I'm. Go ahead.
I know you know that. Feudal, right. Great game, 1967, I think it was Avalon Hill, something like that. But anyway.
Oh my god. You don't talk about like historical board gaming, okay? Because it's inappropriate. I can't do the show while sporting a massive erection. I just can't do it. So do not talk about Avalon Hill or.
All right. So in any event, it's all about the multiplier. So that's a percentage of their score added on top of their raw fantasy points. So someone like Jake Puddle, I believe tonight is, like 1.8 or something along those lines. So he is at, 1.8. So if he were to score 30 fantasy points, we would add 80% to that. So all of a sudden,
54.
80 times 30, 54. That puts him up super duper high. If LeBron has a 0 multiplier and he scores 40 or 45 in potentially limited minutes, it would have been better off having Pirtle. So that's how you look at this game. Right now they have 1,500 spots left in their $12 contest. It is a $30,000 jump shot, maximum entry of 86, and it pays $6,000 to first. So not a completely egregious price pool there. $6,000 to first, $3,000 to second, $1,000 to third. What other fun things do they have? Well, they do have upload from CSV, and they do have late swap. So that is helpful as well. We'll talk a little bit about their scoring and projections for tonight. But just so you know, it is 3 points for blocks and steals. You do get the double-double and triple-double bonus, half point for three-pointers, -1 for turnovers, and then the other stuff's kind of what it is, standard everywhere else. But they're pinball scoring, and it's a lot of fun. Kai Baker, we'll get to that. Now I'm going to get off track, and we don't need both of us off track.
I'm closing the chat.
Yeah.
Ownership, but people in the chat are talking about, someone mentioned ownership on Caris LeVert under 1%. I don't know which site that was, but I've closed that window, so I'm not looking at chat for a minute because I don't want to spoil my game here. But someone said Caris LeVert is 0.59%. That's an absurdly low figure. 3 or 4 would probably be a little more appropriate. It's a bad matchup. He's not 100%, yada yada. But
right, and for people asking, we don't have any updates on Aten. We kind of are hoping we get something.
We should. I think we'll have everything
before we sign off. But okay, so who does number 1 work for? Who is the number 1 player on DK? There were 4 teams that have locked. It's Portland and Atlanta, in Miami
Miami
and
and
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. Again, I should really look at the ownership we have projected before we do this. I'll try Trae Young.
You're not correct.
I'll try CJ McCollum.
You are correct.
So he was pretty high then relative to what I expected. 34.
37.5. Jordan Poole is out. I think we knew that.
Yes, we did.
Okay. So, yep, 37.5. Who does number 2 play for?
I'm guessing it's not Trae Young because every other time I've inverted those two, you've said Trae Young was number 2 right there instead of asking me again. So I'm assuming it's not Trae Young. I'll try Carmelo Anthony.
You are not correct.
I'll try Cam Reddish.
You are correct.
Really, y'all just going that nuts on one game? Okay. 34. I'll try it again.
34.5.
Yeah, that's too much. That's fine. I like Cam Reddish quite a bit as a player, but
a lot of blocks and steals that are helping.
You're not going to get 9 out of 14. You're not necessarily going to get the blocks. I mean, it's a fine matchup. He's not a bad play whatsoever, but
Draymond is out.
I haven't projected similarly priced, Horter and Hunter on the same team just as a starting point, and because he happened to have the big game, having like they're interchangeable for fantasy purposes largely. There's a lot of 3 and D there, and then Porter picks up some assist upside and a couple other.
So you had number 3 and 4. You've named them. It's Trae and Carmelo.
Trae and Melo.
Yeah.
I don't care about the numbers because we got super draft stuff to talk about. How many more are 10% or greater? That's the way Josh does it. So
excluding the top 4 that you've hit, there are 5 more that are more than 10.
Okay, that's on Whiteside.
Yes.
Who?
He's 20.
We oversold Whiteside. Most of the ownership was good there, but we oversold Whiteside and undersold McCollum, I think, because if Whiteside wasn't top 4, 20, 22%, something like that, like he's going to be in the 20ish range anyway. Hunter will get there. DeAndre Hunter will get there.
Yes, he is 17.
Gary Trent will get there.
He is 21.4.
Ariza will get there.
He is 14.7.
And then it's Bam, Collins, or Butler, right? One of those 3?
One of those 3.
Give me Butler.
It is Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, the psychological price pointing will get people there. Under 8K is really a thing over time. Like ownership, like Jimmy Butler's 7,800. If he's 8,000, he's 8% owned instead of whatever he's owned.
Alrighty, so we do have the old super draft projections.
Who was higher, Collins or Adebayo? Because I would have significantly.
Collins was the last guy who was not 10%. He was like 9 something.
So Adebayo was under Collins?
No, he was just above him, like 11.
Okay.
Who were the 3 you said? You said Adebayo,
Butler, Adebayo, and Collins, and you said Butler was top.
Butler was the top.
Doesn't matter. They're all about the same. I liked Adebayo a little bit more, so I was curious how they got in. But it doesn't matter. They're all going to be whatever, just under 10% apparently.
Yep. So super draft. I am curious to know where you would have Andrew Wiggins with a 1.5 multiplier, Eddie. That feels tasty given your love for him, and Draymond is out.
Yeah. Oh, Draymond is out?
Yes. According to El Negro Loco, the news god.
He is very, very solid with
his reputation is on the line with every piece of news, and he does not disappoint.
I know just how he feels when he but that's yeah. So we should maybe talk about that a little more.
DeAndre Aten will start.
Okay. So fire up your Marques, Chris. There you go. Let me
clear your throat. Okay.
Mercy. I hope you don't mind. DJ Cool.
Okay, I had Uptown Funk stuck in my mind tonight.
That Jesus. Like, okay, that's
It's a good song.
No problem.
It's catchy.
It is incredibly an earworm. I will not.
And it's one I don't mind. Turn down for what? My wife doesn't allow me to say that phrase because she hates that. Have you seen the video for Turn Down for What?
Falling through the ceiling and stuff?
Bizarre, but
it's exceptional.
Yeah. Engaging.
All right. So you asked about Andrew Wiggins. Yeah, I had him projected for I think 44, 45 fantasy points. So at 1.5x, that's going to be 67, which tends to be towards the best of the day. So I have to imagine I would be desperately in love with Wiggo.
Wiggins is our number 1 ranked player.
Okay, well done.
For the Awesemo percentages. Get this out.
Je t'aime.
We have... there we go.
Magnifique.
Number 2, Jaylen Brown with that 1.6 multiplier.
Yeah. I had him at 36, I think. So 1.6 multiplier would be plus 21.6 would be 57.6. Plus I'd have to add a point or two because there's some extra scoring on Super Draft. Did I do it right?
You did.
Okay.
We have LeBron James
close to 60.
We have LeBron James third. Now, this is a factor of two things. Alex is projecting him for 36 minutes. I think that's too high, or 35 minutes. But he does have a 1.15 multiplier today. Which
okay. I was going to say, how the hell would that have happened?
Yeah, the 1.15 is pretty rare for LeBron.
Yes, that is a very high modifier for LeBron James. Yeah, I'd probably run 0. I don't know. It depends. I mean, it totally depends what you think he's owned at. If he's owned 5%, that's great. But Alex is the GOAT, and if he's saying he's apparently the third best play on the slate, then I would probably push enough ownership that I would just go complete avoid. There's a very real chance he's very good. And 1.15 is a really relevant factor.
Yeah, because that's 15%, guys. 15%.
Yeah, but nice even boost. That, he needs north of 50 real, which he absolutely can break down against Memphis. But there's a lot of I would really have to look at everything in more of a matrix and see how many other plays I have in that range. But I need that game to stay close because otherwise he's not. He can get to basically 50 fantasy points, which is the number at which he becomes tolerable at a 1.15, even if he plays 3 quarters. Still LeBron James.
Looking at centers.
Okay.
We only play one center. We've got 19 minutes left. So reminder, when you sign up, use the promo code Awesemo. When you make that first deposit of $100, they will give you $20 in super cash.
I'm guessing Pirtle.
Pirtle is it. So he has a 1.8 multiplier. Would you go with Pirtle? Would you go with a Vooch with the 25% kicker, Marques Crest with the 65% kicker, or
I play Marques Crest with the 65% kicker. I have a feeling, and this is again where I will generally defer and say, I think if we did this exercise 100 times, that Alex would get certainly north of 50 of them against me. But I suspect I have Marques Crest projected for a few points higher than him, and we've established I have Jakob Pirtle projected for a few points lower than him, and I expect Pirtle to be higher owned. So my own personage in one lineup, I would rather run Marques Crest, especially with the now acknowledgement that DeAndre Aten is starting again. So I'm a fan. That's more minutes for him, and more importantly, much better production. So.
All right. So right now there's 1,200 spots left in the jump shot. There are 17 minutes until lock. They also have the 4-point play, has about 15 spots left. You can play the and one, that's $1. The 4-point play is, wait for it, $4. And then they have the nickel. The nickel allows you to enter 150 lineups at 5 cents a piece. So if you want to have some mass multi-entry fun, pretend to be Alex Baker or ship my money for a little while, you can do that for $7.50. I've done that a couple times with mixed results. Apparently mass multi-entry, a little more than just pushing a button, Eddie.
Yeah, someone pointed out, and Fantasy Labs tweeted it, and they tend to be accurate. There are 8 Warriors available. There's Wiggins, Lee, Pascal, Chris, Bender, Mulder, Toscano, Anderson, and Looney. So, Mulder is the only person on that team who should play point guard in an NBA game. Wiggins can, he's not good at it. Lee can, he's not good at it. Apparently, Looney can. A tweet went out, and I'm just reading.
You're saying Looney can play point guard?
I'm not saying that, and I don't think that to be the case. However, someone quote tweeted that Looney will handle the ball tonight. Steve Kerr said, quote, he played some point in high school.
Oh, good God, they all did, and they all played center in high school because they were the best players on their team.
Yeah, like I played first base and pitcher and point guard and like all the that's your standard outfit. But like Steve,
could he operate it from the wing? Sure. Could he be the second pass guy in, bringing it up to midcourt? Yeah, probably. Do you want him breaking the press? No. Do you want him running the break? Probably not.
Yeah, I mean,
do you want him starting at the top of the arc, initiating the offense? No. You want him out of the high post? Maybe. Right? Am I saying these things correct?
Well, I'm not. We don't have time to get into what should happen or what. Like, I'm just trying to figure out what will happen.
They are playing the Suns.
The guy is. It's the guy who writes for the San Francisco Chronicle. So the person posting the tweet is extremely reputable. That's relevant to some degree. Now, will handle the ball tonight. He played some point in high school. Kevon Looney hasn't been playing a shit ton of minutes anyway. So, like, I take that as he's one of the, like, he will bring the ball up once every 2 minutes for the 17 minutes he plays. Like, it's not, I don't think it's incredibly relevant for things. But, yeah, they're all going to have to handle the ball a little bit. But I just want to see that Mulder is starting. That's going to go a long way for me. Because if he starts, he should play 30. If he starts, I'm going to have him at like 33 minutes, maybe 32, probably 32. And I imagine that's much higher than everyone else's estimation, which will keep his ownership down. But Steve Kerr is the guy to let him run out there and play point guard for 32, 33 minutes. He can still fail. He's not Alec Burks. He's, a tier under that as far as his ability to actually, convert. But they have 8 dudes. Okay. And they do not want to throw heavy minutes at, for example, Kevon Looney. Oladipo and starting.
What do you think Juan Toscano-Anderson gets now? Does he get over 24 fantasy points? DK.
Barely. I would project him for slightly higher than that. I'm curious where Alex has him projected. I think I'd have him at 26 fantasy points.
We have him at 23.4, but I've been making my changes, so I haven't put in Alex's since Draymond was ruled out. So I suspect that's a tick or two.
Yeah, if you upgrade, I would have him for 26-20. He's an absolutely fine play. This is a team you're going to want to get some real exposure to. So if nothing else right now, you get 12 minutes till the next game, back off some more salary and just leave some spots open, leave some value for it, which is going to be too low owned. But yeah, they have 8 guys there. 7 who they really want to throw real minutes at. The upside for Wiggins is massive. So Wiggins at this point, a priority for me. But I really like Wiggins and Chris. And Lee, I actually would go with again that's someone I really like, but probably in that order: Wiggins, Chris, Lee. I'm assuming he's going to start Mulder. Yeah, at their prices: Wiggins, Chris, Lee, Mulder, Pascal. Excellent play. I can take 18 shots and has shown that he will do it in a game like this. Then probably Toscano-Anderson, then Bender, then Looney. All 8 of those players are in play.
Let's see. For guards over here on Super Draft, who pops? So Jaylen Brown's a forward over there. Would you, and Wiggins is a forward as well.
So who pops as a guard on Super Draft?
Yeah, for anybody. Who are the guards in the later games?
Wiggins is a forward?
Yeah, Wiggins is a forward.
What is the modifier on Damian Lee?
Damian Lee. Ooh, that's a good one. Damian Lee is 1.7.
Literally, he is the only guard on Super Draft for Golden State. I think he's the only guard. I'm almost certain he is the only Super Draft guard. The only Golden State guard you will have on Super Draft.
Yeah, 1.7 feels pretty damn good.
Yeah, you're looking at 36 real would give you an additional 25.2, so that'd be 61.2. So yeah, he's
1,000 spots left there on Super Draft. 11 minutes to go. I need 2 more guards. We've got Harden and Westbrook are 1. You've got Booker at 1.
I would take Harden if they are the exact same modifier. I do have Harden projected for more fantasy points.
How about Booker at 125?
I'm going to math that one out. That's going to be very close, I would expect.
And Rubio 145.
Booker I have for 47, so 1.25 would be plus 11.75 would be 58.75, which I would have as higher than a flat Westbrook or Harden slightly. So I would have Booker over Westbrook and Harden.
And what about Rubio? 45%.
1.45 for Rubio.
Yep.
I would have him. I think I have him at 34. 1.45 would put him at like
48.
50 and some change, or 51. So he would be under, slightly under Westbrook, well under Harden.
All right. How about next two guys that sort of pop?
Trying to think of guys. Where do you
Marcus
have Jaylen
Smart
Brown?
as a 155. Pardon?
Where's Jaylen Brown?
Brown is a forward, but he's 1.6.
Oh, okay. They have him in forward.
Smart is 1.55. Dylan Brooks is 1.65.
DeRozan a forward?
DeRozan is a forward.
What is Brogdon?
Brogdon is a guard. Brogdon is a 1.55 multiplier.
Yeah, go Broggy Pants. That'd be pretty close for me. I have him at like 38. So 1.55 would be close to 59 if I'm doing that right in my head. That seems like a good one. Let's go with that.
All right. I'm going to put that one in.
Nice.
Uh-oh, where did it... What? Super Draft. You need to figure out how to sort these things because this is confusing.
That Avery Bradley 8x tonight. You heard it here first. That might not be good enough. Be close. Avery Bradley's like 3,300, I think. So 8x would be 26.4.
1,000 spots left. We have 9 minutes to go. I'm going to start uploading some of my other lineups here for the Kings of the Draft.
Take a look at the lobby. You've got it. Yeah, 1,021 spots open. Currently taking in about 21K and paying out 30. So that's very nice. Avery Bradley 7x tonight. You heard it here first. It's getting worse over time. Do I have 6.5? Grizzlies will start Melton again. Same lineup we expected. Melton slotting in at the 2, Brooks moving to the 3, Slow-Mo at the 4, Valanciunas at the 5. Yeah, I really dislike that matchup. The prices on Morant most significantly. But for me, I would probably have Morant or Brooks. It's a little site dependent, but I really like them. Tier 2 would be the other 3 guys starting for this team for me. But yeah, it's a dysfunctional team going up in a very, very poor matchup.
All right. Reminder, if you guys have not yet signed up for Awesemo, you can use the promo code live before lock, all one word, get 50% off any 1 week package. You can also, if you go to the XFL show, I believe the promo code for 50% off 1 week of XFL, slightly different, is football is back. And I will say we do have, in my opinion, pretty much the best XFL content out there. We'll have to see what happens this weekend, but I am coming in on a 4-game winning streak. And all I'm doing is reading Chris Spag's amazing free article and then using the Awesemo projections for players as well as ownership. It has been very, very good to me. So shout out to Awesemo.
Yeah, I apologize for not getting. I have literally 73 Twitter notifications. So for people to send me a tweet during the show, your odds are not great of me responding to it. It'll occasionally flash in front of me and I'll answer it if I think it's intriguing, but absolutely nothing personal. I try to catch up with them when I can, but sorry.
All right.
Are you good? You got your stuff?
I've got some 8 o'clock lineups, but those are real easy to make. So we've got 700 spots left in Super Draft, 100 spots left in there, and 1 if you want to dip your toe in there. And the nickel is 1,200 spots short. Reminder, that is a 150 max for literally 5 cents per entry at $7.50. That's a lot of fun. You can have a lot of fun for an evening there if you want to test out some mass multi-entry. Top prize in that one is... I hit the wrong button. I don't like to hit the wrong button. I guess I'll just enter it and find out what the top prize is. The top prize is $25. Hey, not bad. Just for that, I'm going to enter it, guys. There you go. They have 50-50s. They have head-to-heads. It's just a lot of fun. I'm going to enter a 50-50 now. What else should I enter?
6 minutes. Can a brother get a Mulder? Can a brother get a Mulder starting? Can a brother get a Mulder starting.
Oh, Mitch Pileggi.
Right. Okay. That took me a minute. You say Pileggi, I think of the author, so it took me a moment.
That I don't know, but I do know assistant director Skinner.
Nicholas Pileggi was an author, most famously known for, I believe he also wrote the screenplay for the film to his book, Goodfellas.
Oh, well. That's a good one.
Yep.
Let's see. 750 spots left. 5 minutes to go. We should be at least playing reduced rake. I believe last night it got right to the number where it was basically no rake. That was a good time. Do you ever play chess, Eddie?
Rarely.
A game of kings.
So I am told. I've played 50 games of chess in my life.
Oh.
So like I know the rules of chess. I'm not good relative to anyone who plays chess, but I can sit down and play a game of chess. I can think 3 moves ahead. So my friends can think 13 moves ahead, and I don't do very well against them, but just sort of intuitively.
The average chess game is 36 moves. That's a problem. Rimpack would like to know something. What is your over-under on Wiggins' 48 DK fantasy points? That's his line. 48 DK points. Would you be
That's
over?
almost exactly what I have. I have him outrageously high. So, yeah, that feels about right. Let me go back into mine. I have him at 47 and a quarter. Most recent one I did. So, yeah. It is all right. So the downside talking about this Golden State team is that they're just dysfunctional. Like, this is a bad team. They're going
they have
against
cast-offs. This is freaking Kelly's Heroes, man.
Yeah, this is a bad basketball team. But they're, there's 8 of them. So it's just minutes, price, production. But like, I can't see being overexposed to them. Like, I can't see having, 4 guys from that team being too much. But someone asked if I could update my rankings for this. Sure. I'm not sure how many people will see it this late past lock, but I will do it for you. And yeah, Golden State's going to change pretty significantly.
There is an 8 o'clock slate for 2 games. That one they won't get. But by the way, there's a 3-game slate starting at 8:30.
Did we get a Cavs lineup yet?
Yep. So it is. There'll be a little value in there for peeps.
Did we get a Cavs lineup yet?
Let me go back to
the only person who doesn't have an A on me for the entire team, at least one A for the entire Golden State team, is Dragon Bender, because he's trash.
Aaron Baines available to play. Cam Johnson available to play. Warriors will start. This is from 1 minute ago. Wiggins, Lee, Chris, Toscano, and the Red Dragon.
Could you say that in English, please? We're running out of time.
The Red Dragon, Dragon Bender.
Okay, thanks.
Old school tastes so good on my lips. Take the Red Dragon.
Yeah, no. I didn't think they would start a lineup that crappy. So
there was a glitch in the Matrix, Eddie. It got you.
Good news for Wiggins. Good news for Lee. They're handling the ball more. They did not start Mulder. Definitely downgrade Mulder. Now he should be towards the bottom of the team in minutes. I would still project him for 24, 25 minutes. But I would still have him ahead of Bender, but I would now have him 7th out of 8th players on the team. So I can up down rings for that. That goes there. That goes there. That goes there. Bender, you get double Bs, which is the best ranking you are going to get in your entire life. But yeah, have 3 guys on this team, or 2. Don't have 5. It could be ugly. They could score 68 points in a regulation game tonight. I'm not being entirely euphemistic when I say that. Like, it could be ugly.
Did they? We don't have a Cleveland lineup yet?
Yeah, tell me about it.
They're tipping off in 2 minutes.
Yeah, tell me about
it. That's not good.
Yeah, tell me about it. Nice thing is, now there's really going to be like 4% ownership on Andre Drummond or whatever, which is going to feel pretty good. Is it just that one game starting in a minute?
Yep. Sorry, I'm backing up hell.
I'm going to take a look at Super Draft first then, where I will hit reload and tell you that contest in 48 seconds is at 2202 out of 2875. So at $12 entry, that is taking in 26,400 something and paying out $30,000. So that is overlaying 10% with 36 seconds to go. 2217 out of 2875 with 30 seconds to go. So get yourself drawn. Get yourself some. Overlay is good.
All right.
We have 2 games at 8 o'clock, actually. We have the Cleveland game and
the Lakers
game.
Yep. All right, my lineup's in there. We can do a quick little adjustment to Daddy Likes there if you want, and then we can get on out of here.
Sure, if you like. That's fine with me.
But shout out there to Superdraft. We appreciate it. Again, superdraft.io. You're going to get Eddie and I running this back tomorrow, not with the extra half hour as far as I know for Superdraft, because I don't know when they are going to start their contest. So let's look at tomorrow's schedule, on-air production meeting, because these are the best. We have a 1 o'clock, 2 3:30s, and 4 starting at 6. So I suspect Superdraft will go off at 6 tomorrow. We will be on the air at 5, and you will get a leisurely paced show for the 4 games.
4 games, right? Yeah.
My contests. Go to lobby. Let's all go to the lobby.
Let's all go to the lobby. Yeah, that's a good one. Another good earworm.
That is old one. All right, downloading again the $15 contest.
We're doing this again? Okay. Let me know when you got it.
All right, I am uploading. Hopefully it will have... It does, I think. Oh, wow. Okay.
I would not think you would have a ton of ownership in these games.
We do not, which was my... Wait a second, where the hell are these guys? Thoughts? Oh, right. All right, who is the highest owned player of the 8:30, or probably the 8 o'clock games?
Alex Caruso, because it's the Lakers game and the Cavs game, right? I'm not missing anything?
It's Lakers, Memphis, Cavs, Miami, yes.
Yeah.
There are...
Not Cavs, Miami, Cavs, Indiana. But
sorry, thank you, Cavs, Indiana.
Sure.
There is only one person above Alex Caruso. Would you like to hazard the guess for Alex Caruso? You know what the next question is going to be. Who is the guy ahead of Alex Caruso? But
the percentage on Alex Caruso? 17.
9.
9? 9?
Achtung Baby. Der Wiener Schnitzel. Who is ahead? Keeping with our German theme.
Yeah, this is a problem, officer, because I cannot afford another ticket.
Who wants a mustache, right?
Perhaps there is something I can do for you? Something my wife?
Come on. I'm on a horrible streak here. Let me have this one.
Look, Rabbit, normally I get in there and show you how to swing it, but I'm telling you, the car is hot. Very nicely done.
Oh.
All right. Who wants a mustache ride? Oh, I do. Yeah, that's good times. So someone over, I can't remember the guy I named, Caruso. About 9% Caruso. I really thought the world would want to play Caruso, but common sense apparently prevailed.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Camera, cute. Very cute. Very cute. I will give you, that's, one might say witty. We're one in a complimentary mood. Very nice. Morant. Very cute. Yeah, for sure.
All right. Andre Drummond, what would you feel good about? What would you feel great about? Still no starting lineup. I guess we have to wait for
I project about 8%. 8% is going to feel pretty good.
Yeah, he's at 9.
Yay. I feel good about that. Like it's minutes. And I mean, he's injured a little bit. But like he was even doing all this, stuff with like Derrick Rose and what have you. So maybe the matchup isn't quite as good. And
where do you think LeBron came in?
What?
Where do you think LeBron came in?
probably even lower than Brow. So I'll say Brow 6, Braun 4.
LeBron is 1.2. Brow is 7.4.
Jesus Christ. That's really funny. It's the Grizzlies, kids. Like, yow.
Rondo is 0.01 higher than LeBron.
I don't know really who I like more between Rondo and LeBron. Rondo's thing is if he doesn't get minutes or whatever, they're starting Caruso, so he should run the backup unit. Like, it was a positive trend for Rondo's minutes. I like 23 minutes of Rondo, and I think he was 4,200 against the Grizzlies. Like, I don't know who I'd want first in a lineup, LeBron or Rondo at this point, but probably LeBron. 1.5% LeBron against that. Like, I understand projecting him for like 36 minutes. That is what, you would standard kick out. But I really think, matchup tomorrow again with Zion, groin, specifically a groin injury with him after the only significant injury really of his career.
Okay, the best part right now is Mike Vick's dog is in chat with us, so that's
really
good.
I'm surprised it's still alive because
he's in there, right? Meow, Eddie.
Do you see me drinking milk out of a saucer? You see me jumping around on Nimbly Bimbly? Meow.
He says, Mike Vick's dog says meow, and then he says, "Come on, meow."
Come on, meow.
I said, Kai Baker has a good question. Has LeBron ever been this low on a slate before?
I presume yes, simply based on there must have been a horrible matchup. Will play limited minutes returning from injury in 15 years. Like, I will presume yes, but not with a specifically stated minutes limit confirmed in going up against a substandard defense who, by the way, he dropped 65 or some shit on earlier this year. Like, you do have, I mean, the matchup is not a good one for Westbrook and Harden, aside them having gotten there a couple of weeks ago. Everyone's going to want to get to Trey, but Yowza. Shiza. Can I say that? It's a foreign language. Can I say Shiza?
Just.
Merd. That's a good one.
All right. People are pointing out I didn't say who played themselves in the last one.
I love that people want to hear who played themselves. This would be a thing we could add to the game where I try to project the highest played themselves. Like, who do I think is the highest owned self-playing?
Who do you think the highest owned self-played is?
I have no damn idea.
Thought about it for a second.
I will say who went out kind of late with that, and like we don't have a Golden State game. I could get that one. I'll say Tristan Thompson.
It is Tristan Thompson.
Is it Tristan?
Because I'm assuming Timothy Luau Cabarro is in. It is Tristan. Danny Green 0.02. Tristan was 0.04. Jaren Jackson Jr. 0.01. Myers Leonard 0.01. Nick Claxton, is he with the big team?
Yes, he is.
Chris Silva with the big team?
Sorry?
Is Chris Silva with the big team?
Yes, he is.
Chris Chiozza?
That one I don't know. Usually I keep a good eye on if you're trying to find something that makes me look stupid, who's currently with the G League team is going to be
KZ Okpala?
KZ Okpala. He is, I believe, down. But let me go ahead and look. KZ Okpala is down in the G League. 1 for 1. I got that one. And the other one was Chris Chiozza. I think Chiozza is down also. I don't know. I think my daughter's kicking the dog again. Chris Chiozza or Chris Clemens? Because I have a feeling you're screwing with me here.
Have you seen the Alex Baker's Dozen video?
I do not believe so.
Okay, I will send that to you. Thank you, Mike Vick's dog. But yes, everybody should type in Alex Baker's Dozen on YouTube and then watch that video. It is well worth the 2 minutes.
Okay.
It'll change your life. It'll change the way you play DFS. Let's see. I think that's going to do it for us. So the quick one, because I promised my wife I wouldn't stay on forever. Mm-hmm. What did I say? Feudal.
Futile or feudal?
Feudal, the game.
Feudal?
Yeah.
I haven't played that one, but I'm aware of its existence. I haven't played feudal. I've played plenty of. I have moved many square cardboard chits across many.
No, these are little plastic men. It was more fun. Yeah, this was like a checkers chess.
That doesn't count. That's not nerdy enough. Right. If your game has anything that actually exists in the third dimension, you've failed. You need to punch it out of a cardboard sheet. Yes. It needs to be a plain, nondescript, difficult to read cardboard chit. Anything but that is no good. You boys like Mexico?
Boys like Mexico. The snozberries.
I am all that is man.
The best part is I didn't see that movie until 10 years after it came out, 8 years after. DVD movie. And I love it. It is like everything you want and more. It can. I don't know how it could be better. I don't know how it wasn't Broken Lizard amazing. I was Beer Games or whatever that other one they were in.
Beer Games.
Yeah. It was You've seen that one, right?
Beer Fest. Of course I've seen that one.
Oh, Beer Fest. Sorry.
It's not nearly as bad as Club Dread. If you haven't gotten out for Club Dread yet.
No.
Where you have Ramathorn with, I'm taking a machete.
No. I would prefer... I saw Super Troopers first, I was disappointed by anything else they do. It just...
As you should have been. That is their magnum opus, as it were.
Did you see the one that they crowdsourced?
Super Troopers 2?
Yeah.
Yes.
Was that very good?
No, it was not very good. I enjoyed it. They're coming out with Coming to America 2. It will not be good by the standards of Coming to America. It's simply impossible. It's been 36 years or whatever.
The royal penis can only be washed once.
The royal penis is clean, Your Highness. One of my favorite lines in film history is in that scene. So Eddie Murphy, as Prince Akeem of Zamunda, is speaking to his father, King Joffrey Joffre, played by James Earl Jones.
James Earl Jones, baby, with a certain gravitas of a king.
It's not just that, but he gets really exquisitely horny old man here, where Prince Akeem says he wants to go to America to meet a woman. And as you alluded to, there is a previous scene where they are, as the king and the prince, washed by naked women every morning. And so Prince Akeem, Eddie Murphy, says to James Earl Jones, I want to go to America to meet a woman or something. And James Earl Jones, and I cannot do a James Earl Jones impression or the deep voice, but I will do my best attempt and also do the eyebrow motions and the whole thing. Yeah, exactly. This is CNN. But he gets in there and he goes, son, I know we never had a talk about this, but I always assumed you had sex with your bathers. I know I do. And just it's just completely pervy old man. It's so good.
I saw that in the theater of all places.
I did not, as I would have been 11 or something. You wouldn't even have been 18, by the way. You could not get into that.
I was probably 15 or 16, probably.
Yeah, I was about to say. I would have been not yet teen. You would have been. I was rated R for certain. There was boobs.
Yeah, how did I see that one?
Oh, there's she's your queen to be a vision of perfection to be used at your discretion to quench your royal fire.
Eric LaSalle.
That's not Eric LaSalle. That's I should.
No, I know the Soul Glow though.
Paul whatever, who is also in Dewey Cox, which is another. Well, if you haven't seen,
I have not seen Dewey Cox. Whatever.
Dewey Cox, The Walk Hard Story is brilliant. I did not stop laughing. If you're someone who likes music, that movie is absolutely crazy. But there's a scene in that where he plays the stereotypical black Southern bar owner, and Dewey Cox is doing his sort of lame white bread music. He's like, "Damn it, Dewey! People come here to dance erotically," and it's incredibly. That's incredibly funny as well. But, prepare the royal baggage. My son is going on a trip.
Yeah, where else should we go? Why not Queens?
Queens,
the perfect place.
Nah, it's you got to get that right. That's. But where can one find a woman with the beauty fit for a king? And they spin the wheel. Queens.
Yeah, Arsenio Hall.
Yep.
Yeah, Eric
John Amos is the name of the actor.
Oh God, yeah, he was the guy who owned McDowell's.
That's correct. That is Leo McDowell or Cleo. No, his wife is Cleo. Cleo McDowell is her, and he's. I'm having trouble with his first name, but John Amos is the name of that actor. Also, obviously, Admiral Fitzpatrick from The West Wing. It's sure you know Johnny.
Yes, he is. They said the same thing
trip down
about me
memory
in the
lane.
50s. The unit got over it. It always does.
Yeah. That's very. I'm trying to name this that. It's when they're talking about don't ask, don't tell. I believe the name of the episode. I'm gonna try to. I believe that is from the episode "Let Bartlett Be Bartlett." Double check me if you want, but I believe that's like. Season 3, episode. It's early in season 3, but I believe that is from "Let Bartlett Be Bartlett."
Son of a bit. Yeah, it is.
See, look at that! Boom! Give me a line. I will name the episode.
Oh my god!
Yeah, that is from "Let Bartlett Be Bartlett" when they're talking about gays in the military, where Sam is having the meeting with the staff and they're pushing back on "Don't ask, don't tell." I'm there. I have a fairly close to encyclopedic knowledge of that show, being the snowflake that I am. We can stay on air forever doing a movie and West Wing trivia. I will have food brought.
Season 1, episode 19.
It's season 1, episode 19.
I thought it was later in this. I would have said at least.
I thought it was post shooting. Everything is in the frame of whether it's before or after 2 cathedrals and 18th and Potomac and Mrs. Landingham dying. So I thought it was just after that, but apparently it was just before all that. It was just before he got shot. It was obviously not at the beginning because it was about him having some torpor and doldrums in his presidency. But all right, I screwed up the time, but I got the name of the episode right.
Oh, it was that beyond impressed.
Thank you.
Beyond impressed there. All right. 6 meetings before lunch.
Mm-hmm. Let's go.
I remember that episode.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Because what was the best part of that episode? There were several. Sam and Mallory, of course.
Give me some sort of hint, because the title is not giving me the teleplay. I can't remember what that one's about.
It was the gang. Bartlett thought the gang was going out for malteds.
Oh, sure. That's where they go to the bar and the
Zoe
guys,
panic button.
The guys, she has the panic button. The guys are racist towards Charlie and the whole thing. And say, yes, no, that's
a phenomenal episode.
Yeah, no. That bulge in your pocket's a 8 ball of coke spent in spring break in a federal
penitentiary. Yep.
Yeah, sure.
That's funny because I think I've only seen the series 3 times. So I saw it when it first came out, caught most of the reruns because I was taped them on a VCR. Didn't even have DVR back then. And then they were playing them 2 a day when I first when I got laid off from one of my jobs out here about 10 years ago in the DC area. So I watched all of them. And then the next week, I started at the U.S. Treasury. Good training for that.
Yes, sir.
All right. With that, gamers, little bonus time there, but you could follow Eddie at FastEddieFear. You could follow Awesemo at Awesemo_COM, and the pinned tweet will tell you how you can participate in our podcast challenge. Rate and review our podcast. Leave your Awesemo username or your Twitter name in the review, and once a day we are going through for everybody on the various platforms in that day doing a drawing, and you will win 30 days of Awesemo premium content if you are the lucky person. I will say it's well worth it. You can enter on any of the various platforms that you can get the Awesemo podcast. Of course, that would be iTunes, Google Play, Podbean, etc., etc., etc. But check out that pin tweet. It will give you all of those details. Eddie and I will be back tomorrow at 5 o'clock for a 6 o'clock 4-game slate. With that, gamers,